Welcome food fans, picky eaters, the flavor curious, and everyone in between. Nothing makes good food better than good conversation, and your table is ready. Welcome back to another episode of the Food For ThoughtCast with your hosts, Melissa Reagan and Steven Gonzalez, but you can call them Chef. All right, let's get this episode started.
Hey there, food fans. Welcome back to the Food For ThoughtCast with me, your host, Melissa Reagan, and my co-host with the most, Chef Steven Gonzalez. What's up?
Hi, buddy. How's it going?
Hi, buddy. We were just saying how much we missed each other.
Right? It's been a little while.
So it's been a hot minute. How was your Mother's Day weekend?
It was good. It was busy, but it was fun. No complaints out of me. How about you?
Yeah, super busy. I guess it's always fun, right? That's the business that we're in. So
Productive, yeah.
productive. Yes, I like
Even
that.
when you're getting your shins kicked really hard, you just bite your lips, smile, and say,
Thank
"It's
you, sir.
productive and it's
May
good."
I have another?
Yeah, pretty much.
I like the reframing of that there. It wasn't busy, it was productive. I like it. Yes. Well, Steve, I have to know, I've seen you putting up some content, so I got to know all about the things you've been cooking. What's been going on?
So it's been random and it's been fun. I did get a 3-pack of lamb breasts, so I've put up 2 out of 3 videos.
Nice.
And in between the second and the third lamb breast video, there will be a lamb stew video because a friend of mine sent me a link like, you got to try this lamb stew recipe out. And of course I did, and it was delicious. And so that'll be coming up probably sometime very, very soon. And then we have lamb bacon, how to lamb breast. And from there, I'm pretty much caught up. I need to film some more stuff and get some more ideas. And I have a few ideas, especially now that we're going into summertime. But yeah, would you like a sneak peek of what I'm thinking?
I do, but then I have a burning question for you also.
Okay, what's the burning question? I'll give you a burning answer.
Did you cook the bacon?
I did.
Yes.
So I think what I really need to do ultimately is just kind of rinse. So typically whenever I make bacon, I'll rinse it off right before I cook it just to get some of that extra saltiness off.
Sure.
And I didn't do that this time around. So it's just a hair salty.
You went full salt?
Oh, yeah. And it's good, though. You get the sweetness because, of course, it's like sugar, pink salt, kosher salt, and seasoning, stuff like that. And you just kind of got to wash a little bit of that off, but it's not bad at all. It's really, really good. So it just helps with the flavor, I think. Tone it down just a hair, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But it's such a fatty cut, and it comes out so greasy, and it's so delicious and so good.
If it's too salty, it just means you have to candy it. Maybe there's no other option.
You know what that is, actually? I don't think I have a candied bacon.
Ooh, content machine. Okay, so what's the sneak peek?
Oh, so, and I think I've mentioned it before, but the idea would be a pina colada, right, with rum, because who doesn't like rum in their pina coladas unless you don't drink, which is fine. And then we're going to put a floater of cold brew coffee on top because we tried that in Hawaii, and it was out of this world. So now that it's summertime, the pool is open. We have to have something to go with that.
Steve, does that have a name already? Because if it doesn't, you need to pun the hell out of that name.
Well, it starts to sound kind of bad as you say it out loud. No, I don't know. We have to figure that one out. Cold brew.
This is the Pastivi all over again.
Yeah. Well, sometimes in my head it sounds great, and when it comes out loud, you're like, well, could probably say something.
I frequently have that problem. Just no filter between here and here. This thing should be the filter, but she broken.
I have a tendency to ask a lot of stupid questions, but and I think about them as I'm saying them out loud because in my head it sounds great. But I'd rather ask a dumb question and know than assume and not know.
Absolutely, 100%. I have the opposite problem. I will wait so long to ask a question that I eventually have the answer, and then I look stupid for not having asked the first time because then I just had to do extra work. So something in between the two, probably.
I have both problems.
So what was the most amazing thing you ate? Was it the lamb stew?
No, it was the lamb bacon. The lamb stew was out of this world. That was a couple weeks ago. So, I've been sitting on some content. But lamb bacon, actually, you know what? I'm lying to you. So what we did at home,
liar,
we got some chicken breasts that were like the frozen chicken breasts that are breaded, ready to go. You just got to throw them in the air fryer.
Sure. Well, McChickens.
And then we just made like chicken sandwiches. So it was like a BCLT, bacon, chicken, lettuce, tomato. Basically, it's a club sandwich, and people call me out on it.
It's a fried chicken club.
So I put like, have you ever had a BCLT? And of course, like the video is awesome, and it's just like short and to the point. And people are like, "Isn't this just a club sandwich?" I'm like, "Yeah, pretty much." But
no, a club sandwich has turkey and ham. Tell them to go get effed.
No, because I will basically just say, yeah, but BCLT sounds cooler. So
tell them on their channel. On their channel, they can call it whatever they want.
Hey, if they're supporting me, that's no matter what they say, as long as they don't call me shitty, that's all that matters. I've had people try to heckle me, and it doesn't end very well for them sometimes. So I'm not a comedian, but if you're gonna heckle me and say my food's weird or gross or whatever, you better not have burnt food as your product.
Yeah, they can't handle the smoke, Steve.
They can't. But I'm friends with everyone, or I try to be.
It's a good philosophy.
Enough about me. What about you? What's the most amazing thing that you had? Well, how did it make you feel?
Oof. Full, like most food does.
Right.
So we talked about I went to Aldi, got like a crap load of groceries when I got home from vacation. They're celebrating all the things German, so I bought knockwurst. Nice. I cut them on a nice bias and seared really, really hard in a saute pan, which I used our friend Aaron Shapiro's roasted garlic delicious wipe in beforehand, and it was phenomenal. So got the pan nice and garliced up, went for the squeezed the wipe in at the end. I added a thinly sliced red onion and caramelized it really hard with the sausage, and then deglazed the pan with a little bit of a beer, some Dijon mustard, and barbecue sauce. So it was kind of like this spicy, garlicky, mustardy, barbecue-y glaze all over the onions and sausages. I made just a good old veg medley: zucchini, peppers, mushrooms, and a little carrot. Just lightly with some salt and pepper and olive oil. And then I made a cheddar cheese spätzle with a little black pepper.
I'm getting full just hearing all that.
I know. And I mean, it's one of those things, like cooking for one is so hard, because I ate it the night I made it and I was like, yes. And I took it for lunch to work yesterday and I was like, no. Like, I know something about the spätzle gets cold, you reheat it. It's like a brick. I did all the appropriate things, right? Like I put a wet paper towel over it, microwaved it and all this, got halfway through it, was like, too much sausage, so much grease, want to die, and then drank a Pellegrino and was done with it. Like I was like, I'm done with this. I have one portion left. Luckily it was like one link of sausage. So for a single gal, that's kind of like the perfect.
Reheated spätzle just is like a brick in your stomach. It's hard to get down.
It's tiny dumplings that form one big dumpling when you refrigerate leftovers. So word to the wise, if you're making spätzle, like invite somebody over, and that way you don't deal with that problem. But
ever since I worked with the German lady when I first started in my grocery retail career, clearly she would say spätzle. And ever since then, here in America, I always call it spätzle. Well, sure. But like ever since then,
America.
I'm like,
Spätzle.
Well, I don't say it like that. Swedish, but I'm like,
you just whatever way you say. He's Oregon. Whatever way you say it, you're gonna sound like a movie villain. You can't not. It's just because of World War II. Like it's there.
Right.
So yeah, that was the most amazing thing. I think maybe tonight I'm going to chop the rest of this knockwurst and caramelized onions just into some rice and have some really simple sauteed spinach with it, and then probably into the weekend. I bought some stuffed salmon at Aldi, and I'm gonna make some stuffed mushrooms to go with it. And I'll do everything in the air fryer, easy peasy.
Is the stuffed salmon like with crab with a K stuffed?
Yes.
I love that stuff.
It's so good.
They sell it here in Texas at my place of work.
Yes.
And I like that stuff. Yeah.
At the Hebes. The Hebes. I'm sure super similar to what I got at Aldi. It was a really fantastic price, and I think you and I have talked about this before. I like my salmon raw or from a can, nothing in between. So I'm going to mercilessly cook the crap out of it and probably put tartar sauce on it. Sorry, not sorry. So because I just need
that takes me back to my childhood days,
dude. Yes,
cafeteria lunches.
Yes. That was what we call a segue. You nailed it. Nailed it. It's been practicing. No, it was great. It was so freaking smooth. So freaking smooth, just like all the mashed potatoes we used to eat in the school cafeteria.
Mashed potatoes were great.
Hey. So all around the country, school's about to be out. Lots of graduations and proms happening, but for us today on the Food for ThoughtCast, school is in, and we were talking about school lunches.
School lunches.
School lunches. Yes, fondly remember them. Now, it makes it sound like maybe I grew up in a house where the food wasn't good. The food was incredible. I also just had this appreciation for the school lunches. They kind of felt like a treat because the alternative was like a brown bag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it kind of felt like a treat. Like, do you have any favorites? What was your favorite? Was it the square pizza?
Growing up, it was the square pizza. Pizza Fridays was awesome. I liked the hoagies. Those really awful hoagies that came out of the freezer.
Oh,
they were
you and the sandwiches have had a love affair way back, yeah.
It stems from my childhood. What can I say?
Fish sticks, huge favorite. I know that it was just Heinz tartar sauce, and still to this day, like if you buy me the Gordon's Fisherman yellow raincoat fish sticks, like I will crush them hard. I'm all about some pollock, some haddock in my life. But I have these super fond memories of the lunch ladies in my elementary school were very, very sweet. And I always talk to them. I actually ended up drawing a picture of them, and they put it up in the window where like we would go to food. It was like really cute. Yeah, I had really fond memories of the beef ravioli, and I know it was out of a can because I watched them open the can. I know it was a Chef Boyardee. It was a number 10 size can. I know it was. And it's still good. And if you bought me that right now, I'd be like, yeah, it's ravioli. So,
we had enchiladas. We had sandwiches, pizza, fish sticks, fried chicken nuggets. I think we had chicken nuggets.
Oh, yeah.
And then I remember as I got a little bit older, when I was like in third or fourth grade, you could get a salad. And it came with a bunch of stuff in it, and you can get, your dressings and whatnot. I think they initially tried to charge you for it, but I really don't remember.
I remember, so in high school, I remember that the salad would come into what I would affectionately call like a nacho tray, like a little cardboard tray. And it was kind of the world's saddest, like sliver of an extremely unripe tomato that wasn't even red. It was like a pale orangey. And it was just like a pile of iceberg with like, if it could be any more diluted, but like diluted bottled Italian dressing. It was extremely sad because I liked vegetables ever since I was a little kid. So I knew what good salad was. Like we would go to Super Salad all the time. I don't know if you had that where you grew up, but it's kind of like a sweet tomatoes or, like the big restaurant where it's just all soup salad and baked potatoes, like just like 1,000 vegetables and 8 different kinds of lettuce. Did you have something like that where you were?
Our salads were actually pretty good. Like it was iceberg and mixed greens and stuff, but then you also had like the ham cubes, the cheese, the carrots, the cucumbers, all that kind of like we had. It's almost like what you would get.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, it was like the chef salad.
Jealous.
But yeah, you're telling me all this, and I'm feeling kind of sad for you.
I think it's just but it's interesting.
Sealed containers.
It's interesting, right? Where we both grew up in Texas, and a lot of at least high schools are 5A. Like if you're in any major city, like the high schools will typically have some amount of money, right? But I think it's probably like halfway through my time at my high school where they built in the food court just across from the regular cafeteria. So you could go get your, chicken nuggets or whatever. The food court had pizza by the slice, and it basically had like a Chipotle in it.
Oh, that's cool.
Like the giant burritos, but just kind of like low rent, right? Like you had like mild and hot, and you had like one type of bean, and but it was a little bit pricey, but to me, also, there was nothing better than like the Thanksgiving meal at school. Like, it's so good.
I remember that, yeah.
Because they put marshmallows on the sweet potatoes, and my mom didn't like it, so we didn't grow up with the sweet potatoes that way. So it was like a treat every year.
I think ours was like turkey, mashed potatoes, green beans, basically.
Yeah.
Which started my hate, my disdain.
Your disdain for green beans, oof.
But we always, and then you would have like the concessions with the ice creams and snacks and candy. So didn't you all have that?
Oh yeah, we had the machines. We had the ice cream novelties machine. Did you have that business where you could get you could buy an ice cream sandwich or a drumstick or a strawberry shortcake popsicle thing or push pop, or like not the push pop. What am I thinking? The red, white, and blue one. Yeah.
Bomb pops.
Yeah, I mean they're outrageous, right? The markup on those things is insane. It's like $2.25 for. I'm really showing my age here because this thing's probably $5.
You paid that much? I was going to say it was either like 50 cents for $1.
In 2004, I think they were $2 for like the Toll House 2 chocolate chip cookie ice cream sandwich. But yes,
I don't remember
just downing it with like a 32-ounce Coke. Those were the days. I can't eat like that anymore.
I would always have like pizza, and then I would go have like hot Cheetos and cheese.
Yeah. I feel like there were two different kinds of pizza, right? There were the one that they clearly made on a sheet pan that was like rectangles, and then there was the French bread one. And I like the French bread one.
I liked them both.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. The fried chicken sandwich, not too bad. You could get a double cheeseburger. They had like double Fridays where you get like a double cheeseburger, but it had nacho cheese on it.
I always liked I always would buy the stoner burritos too, like the gas station ones with cheese.
Yeah. So nacho cheese, the plastic cheese, the Ricos, I love that stuff. That stuff is my brother's worst nightmare. Like he eats meat, cheese, bread, not much else, really appreciates a really good cheese. So if he's going to have cheese fries somewhere, right? Like he wants like shredded cheese melted, whereas I'm just like, pour that crap on, pour it right out of the can. I'll eat it straight from the can. You know what? Give me the can. I'll dip the fries in it. Here we are.
Yeah.
Give me the can.
That was me before I knew anything about chemicals and
the chemicals. They're preserving me for a longer life, Steven.
All it is, yeah. The worst part about those is you would eat that and then you would go to class just exhausted because you.
Oh my God, you just want to sleep so hard. What about the desserts?
I don't remember desserts in grade school. I really
don't. It seemed like it seemingly was always like a brownie and a cookie.
I don't think we probably did. I just don't remember that.
Yeah, right. I mean, the highlight was like square pizza, and then the rest of it was just inconsequential.
I remember we graduated like 20 plus years ago.
X-nay.
Do you remember even further back, like when we were in like elementary?
I have some vivid memories. It's mostly fish sticks and ravioli though.
Mine's hot Cheetos, cheese, and stoner burritos.
Eek.
Yeah.
Eek.
I should call them gas station burritos because then people are gonna be like, "Man, Steven was a stoner when he was a kid." No, it's just what we.
Yeah, in sixth grade.
Your friends would go get stoned. They would go buy the burritos, and you would be the driver, and you would see them coming out with burritos, and you'd be like, "I want a burrito," and so then they would get you a burrito. You know.
I love it.
Gas station burritos.
I love it. What about cafeterias? So did you have like Luby's where you grew up? Did you have Lubies or
Sounds like
furs?
you went to a very rich school.
No, not at the school, just in the city where I grew up.
Yeah, we had Lubies. I don't remember having furs.
Did you ever go to Lubies?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
The chess pie for me is like, or the God, what do they call it? The millionaire pie, where it's like condensed milk, chocolate chips. Like it's basically like a Hello Dolly bar, but in a pie, like in a graham cracker crust with like a crap load of whipped cream on top. I love that stuff. I'm a fan of Jell-O anything, all the Jell-O salads. Dude, Luby's always felt so special because of it felt so fancy because of the way they would put a lemon slice on that baked fish.
Oh yeah.
A little fancy lemon slice on that square baked fish that after you get in the business, they got those like a 36 to a case already breaded. But they would have you believe that they somehow punched a square out of the side of a fish and then like you cornflake bread.
So
it felt like the pinnacle of fine dining.
Right. So funny, not funny. When I was a kid, I must have been like late elementary, early junior high. My grandma had just gotten a new van and she went to Luby's with one of my aunts. And she was driving, and of course, handicap spot and right in the front. I don't know what happened. We'll never know to this day, but she claims that she put it in park.
Oh no.
And ended up driving through the front entrance of a Luby's. And again, funny, not funny. But here's where it gets funny. Is my uncle, one of my uncles was like, yeah, did you hear your grandma try to make a drive-through at Luby's the other day? And so that was always one that he would talk about. And my uncle had this way of telling stories. You could hear them like 200, 300, 400 times. And you would
still
laugh
good every time.
Every single time.
Yeah,
because
every
of the
single
way
time.
that he told it. It was great. So yeah.
But I have a similar, but it was me driving. So
no one got hurt, right?
No, nobody got hurt.
No one got hurt when my grandma made the drive.
Right. That's why we can laugh, right? Mine doesn't have anything to do with the Luby's, but we'll go off on a tangent. I had just got my learner's permit and was driving a friend's car. So my older friend was in the passenger seat and pulled over to where my cousins lived, which was the house that I just moved away from over here. So it was my grandmother's house in Dallas. My cousins were living there at the time. And I got so excited to show them that I was driving that I pulled up into the driveway and instead of hitting the brake, hit the gas, hitting their car in the driveway into the garage door. So, and to their credit, I mean, I think they razzed me about it like one time and then never talked about it again, which was so very kind. But I didn't let myself live it down for a super long time. So
yeah, because it's an embarrassing story. And
oh my God, it was so embarrassing.
I have a lot of embarrassing stories too that I don't live down either. I'm like, oh wait.
Steve,
a lot of mine are fueled by dumb ideas and alcohol, but still.
Like you do. I mean, naturally.
Like people do. Like adults do.
Like you do. I have those too. Steve, did you ever start a food fight in a school cafeteria?
No, did you?
No.
I think whoever would have started a food fight would have clearly been in trouble. And I was the kid who was like, you can't get in trouble.
I just imagine like when you talk about the very smooth, no lumps mashed potatoes that are clearly powdered but still delicious. I don't care what you say if you put enough butter in them. And the Pioneer packet o gravy, probably the Cisco Imperial packet o brown gravy. When you think about that stuff and how it looks on a tray, the last thing I want to do is clean that out of the clothing. I swear you could probably use that to put roof shingles on. So I don't need that on my clothes.
I'm sure. Yeah.
You know.
Did you all ever have breakfast?
Yes.
What would y'all have?
The half frozen hunk o orange juice ice in the container with the pull back lid also comes in the apple variety. A McDonald's type hash brown and usually a donut. You?
Let's see. I remember a lot of times it was like the frozen PB&J's sandwiches, that you get out of the package.
The Uncrustables?
Yes.
This was before Uncrustables.
This was before. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I would typically have. I don't remember having like sandwiches or actual food.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit lacking. And so but that's not to put shade on the school system, though, because I know that a lot of kids were using their free breakfast and that's all they had, and I'm glad it was there, right, as a resource. Luckily, I grew up in a house where I typically had a bowl of cereal or toast or something available. And I know that I was really privileged to do that. But yes, the school breakfast, the school hot breakfast usually left just a wee bit to be desired. I know there was always oatmeal available, which at that age, at that time, I'd be like, no, thanks, I'll starve. Thank you very much. So,
yeah, I don't really remember the breakfasts all that much. I remember, like I said, the Uncrustables, the pouches of milk or juice. It's about pancakes, probably pancakes and waffles that were already all soggy.
You know? Oh yeah, dude. I wasn't even kind of like drinking cow milk forever. Like I just didn't grow up drinking it. Used it to wet cereal. That's about it. But nothing would beat the school chocolate milk, though.
I never drank chocolate milk.
Crush it. Why? What do you think? You're better than me?
No, because I was more of a juice guy. Juice kid.
Really?
I remember there was a guy that I went to school with, and he was a very funny, unique individual. So, like, you would have like the TVs so you could watch the morning announcements and stuff like that. And he would always bring a TV remote with him and turn them off. So, of course, whoever was, in charge would be like, why is this TV turning off? So they turn it on. He would turn it off. Like he was
What grade was this?
And so like there was
What grade was it, Steve?
I think we were freshmen. So yeah. And then after that, like there was like less TVs because of him. Or he would poke a hole through like quarters and put the strings. That way he would go to like the soda machines, put his quarter in, pull it out, put it in. He was that kid. I just thought that was like the most funniest thing ever. So,
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times. I have fond memories of sometimes the high school cafeteria they would try to go for a theme. So it would be like the world's most ridiculous fried rice of some kind, but the egg roll was always the best part. So you get your hot meal.
Ours was just like the basics, and then like I said, a lot of Mexican food. So.
Like meat, starch, vegetable, or meat, starch, or meat, starch, sauce.
Enchiladas, taco salad.
Absolutely. Oh, the taco salad though, legit. Yeah.
It just, even as a kid, I was like, I'm okay. Let me just get my rectangular pizza slice and move on.
So the little kind of Chipotle outfit that was in my high school would do a taco salad, and they would fry the shells. So that was kind of one legit piece of that action was like, yes, like the giant fried shell. Now the problem is, I look at it in retrospect, and this isn't different strokes for different folks, right? I just have a different relationship with portion sizes than I once did. And so I can think back on it now and I'm like, dude, the bowl to the taco salad was the size of my head. Like just an ungodly amount of, and I also have like a love-hate with iceberg, and that was the only option. So I mean, it would just be like a mountain of iceberg and like 3 ounces of beans. You know what I mean? Like they knew how they were making their money, but the taco shell was giant and it was super greasy. And I think about it now and I'm like, and it doesn't, no shade. I mean, people eat what you want, right? But for me, I look at it, I'm like, that's a stomach ache. I'm not doing that. No. No. I would rather crush some chips on top of a taco salad. And then what happens if you have PE after lunch?
Right. That's sixth period, you're gonna make a mess.
That's a bubble gut situation right there.
Right. You're just praying for that bell to ring for the end of the day and get home and get away from everyone.
Or you're just crop dusting everybody for the rest of the day.
I mean, there was probably some times where I did that with,
Oh, absolutely.
So
yeah. At middle school, it's quite that age where everybody has all of the odors, but they haven't quite figured it out. It's like, oof. Combine that with it's just beans and grease heavy lunch. No. Yep. No thanks.
Who's fermenting in there?
Yeah, buddy. I think the burgers were always the highlight. Middle school, elementary school, It was everything.
Cheeseburgers were good too.
Yeah, it seemed magical. They were kind of like the White Castle ones that you buy at Costco and you microwave, like you cook in the microwave.
Had those?
Well, they were kind of like that. They were just the saltiness, I think, reminds me of something that would have been prepackaged. So the amount of sodium is like, I make that connection between those two flavors.
Ours were like the frozen patty, the regular buns, and I think they would give you this. I don't even remember if we got sides with it, but I just ate my plain burger with cheese.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
That was always great.
I think I always went like pickle, mustard, ketchup route. The chicken sandwiches were pretty decent too. So,
Ooh, I don't remember chicken salad sandwiches.
Just chicken sandwiches, like
like
that grilled. It was like the grilled. It was like the mesquite flavored grilled chicken that they would buy that already had the marks on it.
Yeah.
And then they would hold it in like a hot water bath. You'd be like, yes, please. And then a cold ass piece of cheese on a bun, like a sesame seed bun. You're like, okay, I can make this work. Maybe some bacon bits if you were lucky.
What about lasagna day? Did y'all ever have lasagna day?
I love lasagna day. You know it was Stouffer's. You know it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Dude, those are my favorite. Like when you put it. So I've throughout my career, I've worked at places where we didn't make everything from scratch, and that's fine. It takes all kinds in this business, and I've still learned a lot, right, about being efficient or running a kitchen, whatever. But the best part about those things is you pop the entire puck out of the foil pan and you put it in your own pan, and then you put your own sauce on top of it and cheese, so you can pretend like you made it. It's the best part.
Yeah.
So fast forward all the way to my time with Maggiano's in 2018, and we were making the lasagna from straight scratch, and their lasagna slaps hard. Yeah. But I would eat that lasagna as fast as I would eat a Stouffer's school cafeteria lasagna, because for me it's sentimental. It's memory. Like if I close my eyes right now, I could smell it. I'm like, yes.
I think I can too.
Mike, did you fart?
When you put it like that, yeah, I can
Did you
smell.
Fart?
No. The scent of lasagna.
Lasagna, Dave Grohl style. Lasagna.
Huh?
Yeah. What? I'm making lasagna.
Dave Grohl.
Oh, Dave Grohl. It might be the first time we mentioned. Nope, it's the second time we mentioned Dave Grohl on the food podcast. So, literally both times about lasagna. Yeah. So yeah, did you buy school lunch every day, or did you pack lunch as well? Did it depend on the day?
There was a little while in elementary where I tried to pack my own lunch, and then I would eat it in class. So then when we go to lunch, I had nothing to eat. But then I remembered, oh wait, I could get a second lunch, because like our parents would prepay all that stuff. So they would give us a card, and then we would,
Yeah, you had your number you put in.
Mm-hmm.
So a 4-digit number or whatever, 3-digit number, 4-digit number.
446-267. I think that's what it was. Unless I'm just making.
Jeez Louise, Steven.
Right.
I think I PTSD blocked mine out, but
social, I don't know. What's one of them?
It's not his bank account. If anybody's listening, I'll bleep it. So
I'm I think off by like 3 numbers. I think so. It's okay.
I think it depended on the time of year, and maybe like I don't know, maybe my parents' money. I don't remember that exactly, but what I do know is that it was kind of a mixture of both, right? Sometimes I would buy the hot lunch, sometimes I would pack a lunch. Really big fan of a Lunchable. I can't eat them now. Too salty, too greasy. Can't do it. I can eat the food. I can eat the food like the bologna one, man.
See, I haven't had bologna in years.
It's like bologna, the world's worst Ritz cracker, and American cheese. Like,
or as we call it as adults, charcuterie.
That's just charcuterie. Charcuterie board.
The last time I had bologna, I can't even tell. It's been decades. I'll tell you that.
I like a fried bologna sandwich, like barbecue style in the South, like smoked and then smoked and then pan fried. But I was a big fan of a Lunchable. For some reason in high school, I thought I would get on a health kick and then stopped eating meat for a while, because that was what I assumed to be healthy, which is fine. That works for some people. It didn't work for me in the long run. But I would do things like take a whole apple, one bunch of asparagus, and an entire bell pepper with a Tupperware of ranch. And that would be my lunch. Not quite a lunch, right? So I didn't really discover the magic of string cheese until I was an adult. Now I have those in the fridge all the time. But I didn't really appreciate those as a kid. And it was always, peanut butter and jelly. We didn't have, this is going to sound like the most grumpy boomer elder millennial thing ever, but we didn't have peanut-free schools when I went to school.
Right.
So, and it's not because kids weren't allergic to peanuts. It was because there was not awareness and knowledge around it. So I'm sure they were. I'm sure a lot of people got sick unintentionally, right? But yeah, peanut butter and jelly was a standard because you could put it in your backpack and you didn't need to keep it cold,
I think with us, if you were allergic to peanuts, it was just like, hey, you got to be careful. Sorry about you.
Yeah, right. Don't eat little Jimmy's sandwich over there. But I respect that, and I respect the schools making it safe. It just isn't the experience that I had. Sun butter is not too shabby, but if I had to choose, I would probably just go the hummus route. If I had to make something peanut free, it would probably be like hummus, cucumber, tomato on sandwich, or good old turkey and cheese. So, What's your favorite brown bag sandwich? Let's think about when you were a kiddo and it wasn't fancy and you couldn't put you couldn't mayonnaise the outside and make it on your plancha.
Ham and cheese.
Ham and cheese. Is it cheddar?
American.
Oh yes.
I liked like that. It was just always like American cheese, and then like that budig sliced ham. It's like paper thin that costs like 17 cents.
I love a Kraft single, and I've bought plenty of the budding meat in my time. But my mom and grandma, they preferred deli meat shaved. So if you went, it was almost like you had the slicer at 0 and you would halfway close it a clip, and it would just come out in like these shreds. And that was, as an adult, I still like it that way, but I won't pay for it and I won't wait in line at the deli counter because I'm cheap and I don't have any patience. So I buy all the lunch meat and it comes in circle slices.
I remember I got turned on to that budig meat from my mom because she would always have that in her, she'd have it in her refrigerator. And I just thought that was the greatest thing ever as a child. And so when, like, my grandma would always make us food and stuff like that. But, like, when I wanted a snack, that's what I would go eat. And then she would take us to HEB from time to time, and we would walk because it was kind of close. And so that's what I would always ask her to get, and it was weird. It was funny because my grandma always spoke Spanish and I did not as a child, and I still really don't. But like she knew that's what Steven likes, so I better get it for her.
That's so sweet. Awesome. Well, yeah, grandmas are typically. Dude, so if you were packing, if you had to go back in time and you were packing your ultimate lunch, it's ham and cheese and what? Like for me, it's ranch bugles. Ranch bugles.
For me, it was just ham and cheese. I don't even remember having chips. Like I was a very simple kid. Yeah.
Nothing else?
I don't remember.
No Dunkaroos?
Not that.
Oreos?
If we had them, I'm gonna have to call my mom and ask her what. If I ever had lunch, because my mom has a better memory than I do. So if not, then she'll just make it up and say, I can't believe you don't remember that.
I can't believe you don't remember this.
Yeah.
Well, your perspective as a child is much different.
Right. So. But
I was
a very simple kid. Like I didn't want much.
I liked the Dunkaroos. I liked the Oreos. Really big fan of the pecan sandy. We love those Chips Ahoy garbage chocolate chip cookies at my house.
Yeah.
Bugles, Triscuits, although I didn't appreciate the flavored ones until I was older. Old enough to know better. And then peanut butter and jelly. God bless my poor mom. I can't understand how many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches she probably had to make, but she can't stand them. I don't think. So yeah. But moms are the best. Thanks, Mom. I love you. Thanks for feeding me. The handy snack packs with the little breadsticks and the fake cheese, those are legit. Those are legit. Yeah. If I had to pack one though, it would be turkey pastrami, Havarti cheese, Dijon mustard.
As a child?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I wanted to be cool like my grandma, and that's what she liked.
I never
She liked
thought
that
of
stuff.
any of that. Like it was just very simple for me.
Well,
and I won't lie, like I didn't think about bringing cookies and stuff afterwards because I knew everyone was going to be asking me, "Can I have a cookie?" And then no. So
yeah,
like I said, I just never thought about that.
on occasion, I would, before I grew to hate it, just like the disdain that you have for green beans, on occasion, I would eat that kit that was like the tuna salad kit that came with like the can and the wooden spoon and the packet of mayonnaise and so I think if I got it cold enough and somebody else opened and drained the can, I could get there. I could get back there.
I don't eat a whole lot of canned tuna. I know it's good for you, but I don't eat a lot of it because I just think of like having bad breath. Not that I don't already, but like even worse than usual.
The flavored ones in the pouch are good. Now, there is one person at my work that shall remain nameless that likes to microwave fish in our break room. It makes me very, very sad in my soul. And it is the same way I feel about like a child bringing a tuna. I can't ever say it without calling it tuna fish sandwich, but that's kind of like saying ATM machine. It's extremely redundant, but as soon as I hear myself say it, I'm like, well, it sounds wrong and right all at the same time. So yeah, a tuna.
Just want to watch the world burn.
I just want to watch the world burn. Tuna fish sandwich. I'm just like, why would you bring that into a huge cafeteria full of people? That's you monster. You 7-year-old monster. Yeah, so gross. So bad. So bad.
Yeah, so you would eat all the food that was there for lunch.
Essentially, yeah. I don't think there was anything I ever turned down. Probably the peas because they were cooked until they were brown. So
peas.
My grandma liked Le Sueur peas, that brand from the can, and it has pearl onions and mushrooms in it. Kind of bougie. All of like $1.
No for me, dog.
$1.20 because of mushrooms or peas or
all of them. As a child, like I ate vegetables like carrots and broccoli and stuff like that, but like I think I might have eaten peas too. But as a very young kid, onions, garlic, mushrooms, which I love now. Nope, it was a no for me, dog.
What's your go-to if you were to walk into the lubies are dying out, the furs are dying out, but if you were to walk into a cafeteria place like that, what's your go-to? What are you going for?
Liver and onion.
Yes, I know. I know. Oh my God, what is it about a cafeteria that makes you want to eat liver and onions?
Well, so going back to the beginning of the episode when you were talking about the baked fish, that was my go-to when I was real young. And then I want to say about like 6th grade, my mom got liver and onions and I tried it and I thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then I went from baked fish to liver and onions. You know? Yeah.
Something about it. Will you cook it at home?
Would I cook it at home? Heck yeah. Maybe not as good as they do, but
do you though?
Yeah, I've done it.
Like cat's liver and onions. I used to cook it for my mom and stepdad, and I would buy like 2 extra pieces and cook it for me. But it is a one and done. Like you cook it tonight, you eat it tonight. If there's any leftovers, they're going in the trash because that's where you're going to put them from the Tupperware 3 days from now. So let's just cut out the middleman. Like it is very much like it needs to be hot from the pan with. I like ketchup on mine, but also brown gravy and onions. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Why not do a brown gravy?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
combining flavors, anyways.
My dear Aunt Rebecca, she texted me this morning and she goes, "Now that you live in the South," so she lives in Texas, which is not the real South. So she goes, "Now that you live in the South, have you ever heard of tomato gravy?" And I'm like, "Yes, I've heard of it." My exact words to her were, "You could not pay me to eat it." And she goes, well, she follows a woman who does Southern cooking on Facebook. And she said, according to her, it's just the most amazing thing over biscuits or pork chops. So essentially what it is, it's roux and broth and canned tomatoes. And I'm like, why don't you just put that on pasta? Like nothing about that appeals to me, especially in the South where we have sausage gravy and bacon gravy. And if I make pork chops, I want red eye gravy. So the 2 words tomato gravy being together makes me sad in my soul. And I have no desire to eat it. And yeah, the ketchup just adds tanginess on top of the brown gravy.
I would try it. I don't know. Why not? I've never thought of that. I would try it.
To me, like I literally Googled it earlier just to make sure that her and I were talking about the same thing. And the first picture that came up was just like, no, sad vibes.
I'm gonna have to do this now.
Sad
I'm gonna do
vibes.
it.
Yeah, look at it. You're gonna
Tomato gravy.
your first thoughts are gonna be, why in the hell would you ruin a biscuit that way? And hey, if we have listeners, I know that you're throughout the South, right? I know that there are listeners in Alabama. Can you reach out and let me know if this is a thing and if you eat it? Because weird. And I know we just veered
Not that bad.
we veered off
Try
we veered off the trail of school lunches and cafeterias, but Steven, I don't know why.
It looks like a sauce that would go on your bagel bites before you add cheese.
Bro, it's giving pizza and pasta. It's not biscuit. Biscuits for regular gravy or butter and jelly or apple butter or molasses. Literally 50 other things you could do with a biscuit, but not that. Like, not that. I don't know. I said what I said.
Did you ever have an after-school snack after eating all that artificial food from school?
Absolutely.
What was it?
Sometimes I would split a sandwich with my grandma and Bugles.
Lucky.
For a long time, it was Sunny D and a Butterfinger.
Heck yeah.
Or my parents would give us a couple of dollars a piece. This is how you know I'm old, because you could get a lot of things for a couple dollars a piece. It would be like a handful of Now and Laters or Laffy Taffies. There was a convenience store called the Expressway, which was walking distance. You could make it be on the way home from my elementary and middle school. So I walked to all three, elementary, middle, and high schools, small suburb. And the Expressway had the most beautiful soul working behind the counter. He was an older Asian gentleman, knew us all the way from this tall to when we graduated high school. Just like the nicest guy. I would get a Blackberry Clearly Canadian.
I love those.
A Mamba, like a pack of Mamba.
What's the Mamba?
The Mamba is like it's like Starburst, but there's like 5 flavors in this pack, right? And it's bigger, and then every little pack in the pack has like 5 Chewies in it. You got to try that, Steve. Oh my God.
Remember that.
You can go find it at a 7-Eleven, but yeah, Mamba, it was like 30 pieces of candy in one. Or I would get a Chick Stick. My brother was big on peanut butter. We both still are. Chick Stick, Butterfinger, Reese's, whatchamacallit, Score, all the Butterfinger, toffee, like all that Heath bar, a Clearly Canadian or a Big Red, or a handful of Laffy Taffies or cherry sours. So, yeah, buddy.
I think, let's see, after school in elementary, especially like 5th and 6th grade, I would get home before everyone. So I would watch TV, PBS, and then I would make bagel bites or Lunchables, whatever was in the fridge or freezer. And that would be my after school snack every day, Monday through Friday.
I
would try to eat everything as fast as I could before my brother and sister would get home to eat that stuff for me, because I was a greedy little kid, and I still am. So, yeah.
Dude, toaster strudel was not just for breakfast. That was a good anytime snack, as is a cold Pop-Tart. I rolled hard for a cold Pop-Tart, dude.
I only ate those for breakfast because I didn't think you could have that after breakfast. Like, it just never dawned on me for some reason. See, I was a rule follower when I was a kid. I hated getting in trouble. Even to this day, I still hate getting in trouble. But, it's just one of those things, like, we would have them, and I would, like, if we had toaster strudels or Pop-Tarts, I would have to have it for breakfast and pray to God my brother and sister did not want those. So there was more for me, The good old days. Yeah. But school lunches, I'm sure it's changed up quite a bit since
I think so.
Days.
Well, there's been a couple of different presidential initiatives, right? Like there are more vegetables, there's more options. They've changed some of the nutrition guidelines. Various states have control over what a free lunch, what qualifies as a free lunch and everything else. But, I think that obviously the most important part is that kids are getting to eat, but I mean, you can't swing the pendulum way too far, but I'm sure it's changed a ton. I was actually looking just before we started talking today, and the school lunches in other countries are insane compared to like what we would do. And I think it's because the cultures are different and require that you just eat vegetables or you go hungry, right? Like you cannot just be as picky, seemingly. So that's just an outsider looking in perspective. But in places like Japan, the standard school lunch is rice, some sort of stir-fried meat, vegetables, fruit, and miso soup. Sometimes fish, right?
Let's see. What do you think would be in a French school lunch? I mean, baguettes and wine given. I don't know.
Do you say wine?
Don't they have wine in their school lunches?
For like fourth grade. This is not the vintage that I asked for, my good man.
Kids shall hydrate with wine.
This is the wine. We can't do accents on here. We're gonna get canceled real hard.
I already did. So what? Sue me.
This is the German villain voice. You
will
drink this wine, children.
I would imagine they get like some good cheeses and stuff, no? And some good bread.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's whatever is available in the market, and surely it's probably local. I think that the schools themselves have more control, whereas our school systems are very standardized.
Uh-huh.
So, you have companies like, I think of a Compass or a Sodexo or Aramark. They have a school programs where they get contracts, and they probably have things they're allowed to serve and things they aren't, or they have contract pricing with their vendors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
And let's see, photos of school lunches served around the world. So like France, there's cheese, there's fresh fruits and vegetables. There's a nice looking piece of meat. Finland, there's some fish, some berries, beets. Man, if I would have had beets in my lunches as a kid, that would have been awesome.
Well, luckily, I loved beets as a kid because my grandma would pickle them every summer.
I think I liked beets as a kid. I don't ever remember not liking them.
I came by it honestly. I mean, I wouldn't have had a choice, but I ended up liking them on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ukraine has a very interesting.
Ooh, do tell.
Let's see. It looks like a blintz and like sausage, and I can't tell what that is. But
I will mess with a blintz.
Looks like a borscht and.
I don't know. I love beets, but not that much. Okay.
Brazil has some sort of like kale-looking salad, some plantains,
rice and
beans.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at like the American, and there's like a milk, a couple wedges of oranges, and God only knows what the hell that is. I don't know what that is. The protein.
It's almost standardized to a fault. Is it meatloaf? Hold it up.
I would tell you, but I'd be lying to you because I have no earthly idea.
Put it up to the camera. Name names.
Okay.
Let's have it.
Barely see it, but I don't know what the hell that is.
In the middle?
Yeah.
What is that? What is happening? That looks like a prison tray. Not gonna lie.
That's what I'm saying. Even prisoners get fed better than that.
Ooh-wee. I don't know. We can then start talking about nutrition loaf and stuff.
Oh, I don't know that.
I don't know.
It's pizza, man. With the greasy pepperoni that's cut into little pieces.
We went to Cece's a lot as I was a kid, and I still like Cece's, and I still think it's a great value for what you pay for, as long as you know what you're getting. You're not expecting it ain't Brooklyn, right? Like it's just compare apples to apples. But when we went to Cece's, it was always a special treat, mostly because I could control my own soda intake, and there were free refills, and there were arcade games. But the pizza is not the worst I've ever had.
It's funny.
Sorry. However, the one thing that I always found intriguing, and I never really made the realization until I was older, a lot of times, I mean, I love pepperoni, don't get me wrong, but a lot of times at school, the pizza would be hamburger. And it's probably because they're buying it in 20-pound, in the industry, what we call chubs, like 20-pound rolls of, it sounds dirty, but it's not, of hamburger meat. It's probably like not the worst, but probably the fattiest one you could buy, right? Like 75-25 or whatever.
Yeah.
unless their nutrition standards say you have to eat like 80-20. And then they would probably put in a huge tilt skillet, right? Or like use their knife to cut open these big tubes of ground meat. And they probably use it for like 8 different things that week, right? One was a taco salad, one was this, one was that. And I never stopped to think about how much I liked the hamburger pizza, but you almost can't find it, or you have to ask for it at places because the default is sausage. It was just like an interesting memory that I was like, oh, I really like this. And now I never seek it out, because now I'm old and Italian sausage gives me heartburn. So,
it's funny that you mentioned Cece's Pizza, because like yesterday my mom and I were talking about that, and she was saying it seems like they used to be on every corner back in the 90s, and now they're kind of going away.
For real.
I say if I ever want to lose some weight, I'll go eat at Cece's Pizza, because it'll make me ungodly sick from probably the lack of sanitation in there. And
no.
Like that. I just always get that luck, But,
well, we had a couple of pretty nice ones near me. I haven't been to one here, but the one that was in town where we grew up was I say in town. It's not like it wasn't like we had to go into town. I lived in the suburbs. Let's get that really straight. The one that was closest to our house was really nice and clean. So, yeah.
Nice.
I'm sure if I visited as an adult, now having been in the business, I would be like, that's dirty. That's not a thing. That sneeze guard is broken, right? Like I could have a critical eye, but it was clean. So, yeah, clean enough for my like 8-year-old self. But yeah, but anyway, yeah,
that's
Steve, do you get sentimental for school lunch at all? Like, would you eat it again as an adult? No, I probably wouldn't either. So maybe fish sticks, because it feels like a treat that I never let myself have. Like maybe I will just buy some fish sticks
only
in
the
air fryer. You would make them?
To school.
No. Yeah.
I would not go to a school and have fish sticks, because I would probably get kicked out and arrested, and then have a restraining order saying that you cannot go 50 feet near any schools.
So I really usually try not to say anything divisive on this podcast, but I will say this. I think when an overwhelming amount of people are in favor of cutting the funding for school lunches, they should go into a school and eat those lunches as an adult. So they have the right, at least so they know what they're advocating for. And I'll leave it at that. But yeah, so yeah, I wouldn't eat it as an adult either. So I might let because what?
We have better options.
Yes, I am still a child, but with adult money. So.
Yeah.
But I will crush the hell out of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah.
Anytime, any day.
Like I said, you can't go into a school and order one, because the people are going to be like, who in the world is this person? Security!
Yeah, it's kind of not a good look. Pretty much wouldn't be a good idea. So wouldn't be a good idea. I do think there was one in New York for several years, but I always thought it was a really fun idea to have a restaurant for grown-ups that served grown-up food, but in the style of a school cafeteria, kind of as a kitschy retro. Right. I think there was one in New York, because it was featured on a couple of episodes of Sex and the City. And if anybody else out there knows what I'm talking about, or maybe I'm just the only freak, let us know. Pipe up. I think that would be a really fun concept, though. Maybe it could have charity aspirations, or maybe it could benefit a local school, or I don't know. I think it's not like some niche corner of the market where I think, we need to relive our school cafeteria experience. But I think that there is somebody out there who could elevate a cafeteria experience and make it upscale.
Luby's, duh.
Yeah, but like a little bit better than Luby's. Hey, Steve, I've had a blast. Let's get out of here. Hey, what are you cooking this week? You have content to make, you said.
I don't know. I have content to make. We're going to make protein sandwiches, I guess. Is
it just cottage cheese and between 2 pieces of cottage cheese?
No.
All protein.
Egg, and of course, your sausage patties, which is like 99% lean meat.
Are you making the sausage the bread?
No.
Is that what you're doing? Oh, okay.
Whole grain.
You said protein. So.
Well, no, you're combining egg, your cheese, your sausage patty, your chipotle mayo made out of cottage cheese. You got to make it.
I knew there was going to
I've
be
seen
cottage
that
cheese in there.
stuff all over the internet, so I'm like, well, now I got to try it.
I knew there was going to be cottage cheese in there. I have to mini rant really quickly. Every dessert doesn't need protein in it. There, I said it. Just let it be dessert. Holy crap.
True.
Anyway, I just had to get that out. I hadn't seen you in a while, and I just felt like I had to unburden. I had to unburden with that. Okay, I can't wait to see the sandwich. I think, yeah, stuffed salmon, stuffed mushrooms. Got a little baby can of artichokes. Going to do like a spinach artichoke in the mushrooms, and then air fried with the stuffed salmon. Gosh, what else? I got a half a bottle of peanut sauce in the door of the fridge. It's going to be a peanut sauce, either stir fry or noodles. Some noodles next week. So
I like it.
Just stuck on it. It's like adult peanut butter, I think. So I'm just stuck on it.
I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, thanks. You too. Have a good week. I'll see you later. Bye.
That's a wrap for today. Until the next episode of the Food for ThoughtCast, make good food, eat good food, share it, and be kind to one another.
Thanks so much for listening today. You are part of what makes us special, and we are so glad you joined us. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave a review. Just like food, delicious podcasts are better when you share them with others. Come back for seconds wherever podcasts are served, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Food for ThoughtCast.
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at the Food for ThoughtCast or at www.foodforthoughtcast.com, where you can link to all podcast players, or you can send us an email at foodforthoughtcmc@gmail.com.